Hello and welcome to the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. You always mix those ones up sometimes because is it Exhibition Centre? Is it Leisure Centre? Sometimes you don't really know, but they've got a lot of stadiums out here on beautiful Gold Coast. I'm Felix von Hoff, joined as always by the busiest man on Blitz Week, the GM of the Next Stars, Liam Santa Maria. Welcome in.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to this one. Another big night of preseason action, getting to know these teams in advance of the start of the season, and Illawarra and Melbourne. I'm excited to see what these guys are going to put on the floor.
Well, it's two teams with, Melbourne United. Of course, they always build their roster towards a championship. And what we saw from Illawarra at the back end of last year, do we go as far as saying championship contenders, or are we being a little bit too hopeful?
Oh, they're contenders,
for
sure.
Go.
I mean, they were one game away from a championship series appearance last season. They've kept the bulk of that group together. And I've liked some of what I've seen here in the preseason. So what's it going to look like with Justin Tatum over an entire year? Well, we're starting to get an early feel for that right now.
That's the exciting stuff. Of course, a couple of players out for this one. Trey Kell, Chris Golding, who's, I've been told, a virus. I've been told exactly what it is. Clubland, they always want to be a little bit secretive. Just tell me what it is. I'm not going to share the information anywhere, but a virus. But again, no major difference. We don't read too much into the preseason here.
Yeah, but still so much talent on that Melbourne United squad. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup between Jack White and a guy who's like a young Jack White in Lachlan Olbrich. So Jack White, he's looked good in preseason, trending towards becoming a star of the league this year. And Lockie Olbrich on this upward trajectory, and this week in front of NBA scouts, making a bit of a name for himself.
That's the big one, because you're heavily involved with the Next Star guys, but there is a lot of NBA scouts in the building for this week, and of course they're going to be at Hoops Fest as well over in WA. But from your dealing so far, are they impressed with what they're seeing? Do they like it?
For sure. Love it here on the Gold Coast. Impressed with the league and its growth over recent years, and really impressive by the young talent on display.
And of course, before we dive too deep into Melbourne and Illawarra and everything's going to be going on there, Roman playing high school basketball this week as well, and the scouts were down there watching that. Unbelievable. You forget just how young he is. Of course, was with the Jack Jumpers originally, didn't quite pan out there, wanted to get home for a little thing. We forget that he is still a kid in school, but how did that all go down at the high school court?
Oh, it was pretty cool. See him out there, see him in action. For a lot of the NBA scouts, it was their first time seeing him in person. So get a look at his very developed body for an 18-year-old. He threw it down a couple of times. A little rusty. I thought he was going to throw a rugby pass at some stage, but did his thing, and he's going to be. They're going to have a chance to watch him a little bit throughout this week, which will be fun.
Nice. Well, hopefully we see him out there. But the Illawarra Hawks taking on Melbourne United, not far away from our opening contest here. The Illawarra Hawks, mixed results for both of these teams coming into this game, but again, we haven't quite seen all of the superstars out in action here. Chris Golding obviously not taking part tonight. Do you read much into the talk around Melbourne United that they need a superstar? They need a head of the dragon. I know Alice Kunek has spoken about it a little bit on NBL now, and to an extent I agree with it. It's much easier out there when you've got a guy at the end of the shot clock, okay, that's our guy. Right now, Melbourne, it seems like they're going to be doing it by committee.
Was Chris Golding not a superstar in the NBL?
I think he's a shooter when in the right position. I think as I just removed my mic cord. But in terms of a get to the rack, last second type of guy, where you can just bring an on ball out there and go, I'm not sure Chris Golding is my guy for that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's still an all-star 5 guy, but in that sense.
Look, they got so much talent. They got guys who play for each other. Shea Illy, Della Vadova, Chris Golding, Ian Clark, Jack White. I mean, should we keep going? I mean, they've got so many high-level players. They play together. They play high-level defense. They themselves nearly won the championship last season. And under Dean Vickerman, so beautifully coached, they're going to be in the thick of things at the end of the season.
We got Kyle Adnam as well from the Cairns Taipans joining us. He's not going to be taking part in the second game. His loss is our win as he joins us. Quite a few players joining throughout the Blitz, and we'll see them throughout the year as well. You're very, very early. Maybe not as early because we've seen a bit of action so far. Predictions for both these teams. I haven't quite gone through to see where we're playing in the way too early predictions online, but where would you sit right now with Melbourne and Illawarra? Are you up on them from our previous predictions, or are you a little bit weathered?
Well, I managed to dodge the early predictions, so I've kept my powder dry.
Nice. Well, we're going to cut to a quick ad break. The action here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre, not far away.
All right, we at Carrubbin Sanctuary. We just finished our tour. Had such an amazing time. My favorite animal was a crocodile, of course. He was a monster. That's who I am, a monster. What was your favorite?
My favorite moment was seeing the little baby Joey, the little baby kangaroo, and feeding them. This was absolutely amazing.
Yep. So until next time, Preachers out.
Welcome back. The action about to tip off at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Beautiful as always. What is it? Beautiful one day, sunny the next. Liam Santa Maria, is that the slogan?
It was funny out there this afternoon. There was such a sunny day. I was getting a little sunburnt, and then the rain started. The clouds, started pouring down on us. So yeah, but it has been great. What an awesome place. Everybody loves being up here in Queensland, being up here on the Gold Coast, and these guys ready to lace them up or have been enjoying the week as well.
Well, we look at the starters here for United. Rob Lowe, Matthew Dellavedova, Jack White, Ian Clark and Shea Ilian. For the Hawks, Sam Froling, the big man up forward. One Swakala Bullock, Lee, Tyler Harvey and Darius Days, who has been impressive, and he's the one, when we look at this game, I'm probably the most excited to see him moving throughout this season.
Yeah, still getting to know him and what he's capable of doing. I'll be totally honest, I'm a little surprised to see him starting in front of Lachlan Olbrich here at the Blitz.
That's because you are a father figure to so many of these players, Liam. Yeah, but there's always a bit of bias here because you are the defender of the youth in this league.
And I'm happy to be that. I mean, there's so many NBA scouts in the building, front office executives. Like, if Days is going to start during the year, fantastic. But in the meantime, love to see Olbrich get an enormous opportunity. And no Trey Kell, as you mentioned before. So, other guys are going to carry a bigger load. Harvey's going to handle the rock to begin with, and I think we're going to see a lot of Dave O'Hickey in that spot throughout the day.
Well, how good was Dave O'Hickey towards the back end of that? Last year was the X factor in that Illawarra Hawks run. But you're right with Lachie Olbrich. Of course, his season in the NBL was one of the better ones that we've seen in quite a while. Now, we wanted to see a breakout year from him last year, but, a couple of things out of his control. He probably wasn't given enough time that we would have expected from him, and I think we saw that a little bit later as we're tipped off underway. Jack White going at it. Ian Clark goes for the errant pass to Rob Lowe, and we're underway here with Swakalo Bullock. Lee. Froling, another guy that's just been really heaped on the praise in the off-season as Harvey looks to attack. On cue, Sam Froling. Was it Derek Rucker that came out and said that he'd be disappointed with sort of 16 and 12? He wants to see some...
I think it was Lowry that put the real heat on. He turned the burner up, and he wants to see big-time stat lines, 20 and 10 type operations from Sam Froling this season.
Well, I think we may have to see a 48-minute game for some of those sort of numbers. Of course, in the 40-minute era, it's a little tough to get to. Froling again down low. Finds his way to the free throw line.
Well, we're tracking nicely here in the early going. Sam Froling averaging a very healthy point per minute here in the opening couple of possessions. But I actually would, this is something I would love to see over the course of the season, is to make a focus of Froling early. Roll it to him in the block, give him plenty of touches. That time, a little paint touch on penetration, and they give it to him over the top. But establish Sam Froling early, make sure he's engaged, feeling good, and then we might be able to see some of those heavy stat lines and big-time production.
Jack White, another guy who brings the rock down that you've spoken during the preseason. I think I agreed with his Rob Lowe from outside. Can't get that one to fall. They'll clean it up. Well, you spoke about, we've got to be realistic with our expectations from Jack White. He's not a go-out and create his own shot sort of guy. He's going to come and be a massive difference maker as Shea Ilian transition throws it up to Jack White, who's going to get the and one.
Bang, on cue.
And seems if I mention a player's name right now, they're going to the free throw line. But it's an interesting game style where he might be the X factor and the difference maker for this team. But we're not exactly expecting Bryce Cotton numbers.
It's so fantastic to have him back in the league. Obviously coming through Duke and through the NBL, got recovered from his Achilles injury and got his NBA opportunity, NBA champion. I was chatting with the Denver Nuggets assistant GM, Tommy Balchetis, the other day, and he was like, he'd caught up with Jack, he'd gone out to dinner, he said he was such a great part of our organization that championship year. And look, now he's back, and he's going to have a huge impact. I kind of liken it to maybe kind of what Nick Kay did with the Perth Wildcats there for a couple of seasons. And heck, he was back-to-back All-NBL first team. So that could well and truly be where Jack White can kind of produce this season. Now, there was some talk, MVP type of talk, and that's, you know, there's some serious high-level superstars in the league, but it's great to have him back, and he's going to be super important for Melbourne over the course of the season.
Certainly going to be a highlight all throughout the year, especially when he gets up above that rim as Froling finds Darius Days on the outside. He can light it up, doesn't that time, and Illy will take it away. Shea Illy against Brisbane. When I commentated the play-by-play in when it was Melbourne United against Brisbane, he was just pushing it non-stop, and I feel like that's when he's at his best. When he is that, of course, as a defensive-minded player, when he's just pushing that thing coast to coast, he makes good decisions. I say that after a turnover. But he's a great decision-maker in transition, and it's going to be really, really evident for Melbourne United when he's playing like that.
He also got tossed out of that game,
which was unbelievable. For one of the calmest guys on earth to get yanked in a preseason game, including John Riley, another guy that, of course, the Blitz a little bit more acceptable, I'd say, if you can say that, to be ejected. But yeah, the Shea Illy one was an interesting one.
The most interesting part about that, and I haven't caught up with Shea and asked him about this, but it did look like when he got ejected in that preseason game at Casey against Brisbane, and he stormed his way to the change room. The change room, the door to it was right next to the court, and I think it was locked.
Oh, no.
He had to wait patiently to get in there and throw things around.
Maybe that was a little bit time to just temper the nerves as Daly gets in for his trademark little floater, gets that one to fall. Dellavedova, another guy that we talk about, guys that may not necessarily give you a giant stat line night in, night out, but huge difference makers for this team.
For sure. And I mean, think back to the Blitz last year. It was the start of the Dellavedova kind of...
He went Steph Curry on us in the Blitz.
He really did. And he went on to have a tremendous season and earn his way back onto that Boomers team. Now, part of me wonders how Delhi, Will Magnay, how those guys that were on that Boomers campaign are feeling right now.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a kid and you come back from school camp and for a hot little minute you're just a little down in the dumps because it was so fun, and these guys were so laser focused as a result of that campaign, so emotionally draining, you would expect, as Sam Froling spins his way to the cup, finishes with the right hand.
And that's an interesting one for Melbourne United. They lose JLA, they lose Huck Porty, a lot of defense right at the rim. Now they replace that with a guy like Rob Lowe, who brings positives in other areas. He's going to be able to stretch the floor, and he's one of the smartest, highest IQ guys you're going to find, but he's not exactly going to be swatting stuff at the rim like a guy like Huck Porty was.
No, but Marcus Lee will.
Yeah.
Elite rim protector. So they've got a couple of different options that they can go to. They want some stretch work, they go with Lowe. They want a little bit more around the rim, they can roll with Marcus Lee.
Of course, the Illawarra Hawks membership tickets for the Illawarra Hawks NBL 25 season are out now. You can scan the QR code below it. You can go to nbl.com.au/tickets to purchase. After what we saw last year, it was my first time over in Illawarra last year towards the back end. That place was absolutely rocking. Absolutely rocking. Now, winning does a lot, but I expect for the Hawks we're going to see a bit more of that this year.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to wait as Days slaps the three ball. He's exciting, can really shoot the rock. I don't think you need to wait if you're an Illawarra fan to see if you're going to have a good team.
Yeah.
Like, so many pieces back from that squad that made that tremendous run. And get behind this squad right from the very get-go. Pack out the Win Entertainment Centre and help them get some early wins.
The Hawks looking good early. Harvey with the errant step back. And right now you talk about attacking a guy like Froling. Like you'd like to see right now, get him right there down on the low block. It doesn't really seem like there's someone out there on the floor that can guard him in a one-on-one situation.
I think that's a fair call.
Daly deep in the paint. And the Illawarra Hawks with a hot start here. A 6-point lead. Pre-season action, of course, Hoops Fest over in WA is going to start off round one. Something that's coming together real well. We talk about the National Championship, Sneaker Fest going on. If you love your hoops, You'll certainly be down there. Carmelo Anthony, Kenny Smith,
I know.
Liam Santa Maria, all the names.
Oh, please.
Cam Luke will be making an attendance next.
Is that true?
Well, I've heard rumour.
Would love that to see that as Hyunjung attacks the rim. Now, this is interesting. What we saw right there from H.J. Lee, he's chatting with Justin Tatum earlier in the week, and they're expecting big things from Lee. A step up from what he produced last season, and this, where he attacks the paint off the bounce, is something that they're particularly focused on. So when it kicks to him and there's a hard closeout because everybody's petrified of what he can do beyond the arc, attack. There, as Rob Lowe crawled in and wanted to run him off the line, Hyunjung, instead of just reversing it and saying, all right, now I'll run off another pick, puts it on the floor, gets to the rim, gets to the free throw line. They want him to be more aggressive off the bounce.
Couple of guys throughout the league from we've seen in preseason action that have done just that, just developed another aspect of their game. And we see when guys go over, especially over to the NBL, and they get, a guy like Tanner Krebs, of course, playing in the NBL 1, he looks to have developed a little bit of that off the dribble a bit more as well. And just that confidence to say, hey, I don't just need to be a shooter in this league.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're young and you're finding your feet, be that shooter role, but you're developing now. You're getting to mid to late 20s as Lee can't get that to go. And Bowen, another guy who's looking to make a step up this year, cleans it up.
Well, Bowen used time in the NBL 1 this offseason. Lockie Olbricht's about to check in the game. MVP of the NBL. You see the work that Ben Henschel did over there, the improvement he had. We're going to see more of him later tonight. And, other guys, Michael Harris and Nick Marshall. So many guys around the league who used the offseason. Hyunjung played in the back end of the season in Japan, averaged 15 a game. A lot of guys using that period of time to work on their game, play at a lower level or a different level, and sort of spread their wings a little, and they take that confidence into the new season.
Bowen gets him to fall. Now, Lockie Olbricht is a guy, a lot of the NBA attention falls on the next stars because it's marketed in that way. They're always the ones on the scouts are here to see the next stars for the most part.
Yeah.
Lockie Olbricht, you can see him as a legitimate NBA potential player.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, they're not here just to see the next stars. They're here to see the draft prospects.
Yeah.
And Olbricht, Ben Henschel, these kind of guys fall well and truly in that category. And he's impressed. He came out and had a sterling first hit out here at the Blitz. What I tell you, I was talking with the NBA scouts as Darius Days draws the foul. He'll go to the free throw line. About Lockie Olbricht, they're keen to see whether or not he can start to hit the three ball consistently. Because if he can do that, it changes everything in terms of what they kind of see in him and his potential moving forward. So they love the fact that he can attack the rim. They love the work he can get done inside the paint. But particularly keen to see him catch and shoot from long range and knock that thing down consistently.
Well, his work rate is the thing that always jumps out to me as well. I remember in the Blitz last year, that being the thing, just, sometimes getting those 2-3 offensive rebounds in a single possession and things of that nature, which are very, very hard to teach. The jump shot you can teach. That can come, but a work rate like that and at his size is so advantageous. Bowen. Melbourne United just looking off the pick and roll action. Finds Bowen, the catapult, doesn't go for it that time, gets deep into the paint for the Daly-esque floater.
There was an element of Todd Blanchfield about that one-handed push shot from Kyle Bowen. Very effective.
Lynn Cameron all up in the business of Will Hickey. Darius Days looking to find his shot there, gets fouled in the process. And a scoring stalemate over the last few possessions here as we are lucky enough to be joined by the man he's jumped in, Kyle Adnam, in his bright orange Cairns tight pants polo that you whack a CMFEU on the side of that and you look like you're a tradie. But welcome in.
It's all happening on the Gold Coast, man. It's great to be here. Thanks,
now,
fellas.
you have picked up, you were a tanned man before this, but you are almost as reflective as the polo you're wearing right now. For those that, this is an audio format for those that can't see us, but you've been seeing a bit of sun in Cairns.
Right. Well, Unfortunately, I had a knee injury, and there's a few things that Cairns has to offer, and one of them is the sunshine.
There's a sunbed in the rehab building, is there?
Something like that.
Darius Day still at the line here, but Kyle, of course, out with a knee injury. What's your timeline looking to be back involved?
I'll be working with the physios on that, but it's going to be soon. You would hope so. It's going to be soon for sure. Nothing major, no structural damage, which is really, really good news, especially for an old fella like this. Yeah, really looking forward to being back on the floor, and the Blitz is definitely providing some inspiration. Two teams really going at it right now, putting heat on the rim.
Tyler Harvey with the shake and bake off the back of Dellavedova. There's something in this Gold Coast air that he just loves knocking it down, Liam.
Well, he's all into the grounding, Delly, these days, right? Likes to get out there.
So does Bryce Cotton. I saw him actually today out there on the oval, walking around barefoot.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? The fact that they're both doing it probably tells me that maybe it works.
Well, they're both pretty high-level performers. Kyle, last season, spent some time with this Illawarra Hawks team. Tyler Harvey, we saw him snake his way to the cup right there. What did you learn about Tyler? Being with him on the day-to-day, practicing against him, practicing with him, and as part of that team that made such a sensational run towards the playoffs.
For me, the most impressive thing was his mindset. I mean, we see the threes, we see the step backs, we see his ability to get to the rim and put pressure on the defense. But for me, it's his mindset. A real true leader. You know, the example of set the example and everyone will follow you. So Tyler's just an incredible on-floor leader.
Do you just by chance know who's ahead of him in the all-time three-point makes at Eastern Washington? Just off the top of your head?
Oh, no. Please.
Don't start me.
Is there? I haven't looked at it recently, but I believe it started with an F and rhymes with Elix on Hoff.
I also know the all-time shots drinker on Chapel Street.
Oh, wow.
As Lee drains a free throw. I will say that I broke the attempts record the year previous to that. So the percentage, I believe he still well and truly has that.
It's all about just onward and upward, Felix. You improve from one year to the next, and that's all that matters.
3-point lead here for the Illawarra Hawks. Melbourne United, Kyle Bowen finding his range for the three-point line. And the toughest thing to play, when you look at a Melbourne United team that are so well drilled under Dean Vickerman, what do you find the toughest thing to play against this unit?
Oh, I just think they have so much versatility on the defensive end. Obviously with Shea and Delly, you see them, you know, this season and last, rolling out that really defensive backcourt. And it's got to go into your offensive schemes. You really have to scheme around, you know, their defense, which is a real advantage for United.
Santa Krebs cleans up the three, and Lockie Albrecht, another guy, they have the confidence in him to just go coast to coast. When he gets the ball, clearly the confidence from Justin Tatum to say to Lockie, hey, you want to go coast to coast, go. There's no big man rebound, give it out to the point guard.
He's a great decision maker for his position. I think they really trust him with the ball, especially pushing in trans and getting early offense. And I think, you know, his off-season was next level, Lockie Albrecht. I think
Defensive Player of the Year as well, I believe, over in the NZNBL.
Every single. They had some awards that he didn't qualify for, and they were like, well, at this point, we're just got to give it a Lockie anyway.
Don't forget NBL Plus as well to unlock the ultimate fan experience. You can scan the QR code below to sign up for free. For free, am I reading that right? To NBL Plus. You can access archival footage, even Liam Santa Maria back in his days. It goes back that far.
Wow.
In-depth stats. Maybe you don't want to go too in-depth for both me and Liam, but exclusive partner offers also available now. The NBL coverage across the board is just going up and up every single year.
Couple of little flybys
Yeah,
along the way.
I had to round myself in there as well. I believe you did have more. Definitely did more than I did.
I do sit, I think I sit somewhere in the top 10 for quickest foul out.
What was it?
It was a Randy Rutherford nightmare, is what it was.
Albrecht, look at his spin, use the big body, gets into the paint. The NBA scouts sitting courtside and they like that physicality.
Well, for sure. And that's what we were talking about before, his ability to operate inside the paint. For a young man, he's well built. He's very strong.
Illy gets deep into the paint. Can't get anything to go.
Moves well, very skillful, good touch. Kyle, I was talking before about it's the three-point shot. That's the swing skill for him now, moving forward, projecting towards the NBA.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. His ability to shoot and just stretch that defense, especially with the three-point line being another, meter out in the NBA. His ability to get downhill at his size is a real advantage. So adding that free ball probably opens up the area of the game that he's most impressive in.
Timeout to Melbourne United. Cole Bowen leading the way for Melbourne United. 7 points, 2 assists. Now, he's a guy that I've been impressed with throughout the preseason. Another guy where if Melbourne United does want to be, in that championship conversation, they need guys like Kyle Bowen to be stepping up and being an X factor. And from what we've seen in the early going, I think we're going to see a really impressive year from him.
Yeah, so what do you think the role's going to be for Kyle Bowen? I mean, he's the primary backup for Jack White, right? Now, when the lights come on, without foul trouble, the expectation Jack's going to play 30 minutes a game, right? I mean, I would think Jack would have to land somewhere within the league leaders for minutes played this upcoming season. So Kyle's going to have to be great in his role, which is to hold the fort while Jack's not out there, punish the defense for sitting off him, because even though he hits it at a high clip, the fact that it looks funky, guys are going to let him shoot the ball. He's going to need to knock that down and then get some work done on the glass.
It's remarkable to go through your entire basketball career without someone saying, hey, hold up. Why don't we just move the arm in a little bit
going
here?
In.
Don't fix it if it ain't broken. That's the Andrew Gaze theory. Toddy Blanchfield looking to attack the rim. Gets down, maybe gets away with a small push-off.
That's there.
Hickey up top. Zach Triplett subs into the game, of course, formerly Melbourne United. Toddy Blanch with the errant pass.
I think that's an action that Illawarra are really going to go to this year with this twin tower of Ulbrich and Froling. That cross-screen action, you see them working on it. It was something that they really wanted to do last year a lot, and I think now having Lockie on the floor as a playmaker in that high post.
And that's where Ulbrich is so dangerous. Every time he's catching that rebound, he is putting the head down and going, and he's got the confidence from his coach to let him do that. And you look at those strong moves, very, very tough to stop.
Yeah, and he's attacking, but he's under control. There's a poise about him for a young guy. He turns his back. He wants to kind of spin on you, feel your contact, and then spin. Spun twice on that previous possession, but that was a great play from end to end. And he scored at the cup.
Tied up ball here. It'll go Illawarra's way with the possession arrow. But you look, coaches often preach, don't turn your back to the basket. But when you've got a guy with the IQ level of Lockie Ulbrich and the control of Ulbrich, that kind of goes out the window where they can say, hey, everyone else, relax. But Ulbrich, you can spin in traffic. Froling finds Blanch again, gets it back to Ulbrich, who's had a lot of success down low, continues his dominance. And I'll tell you what, if I'm an NBA scout courtside, I may be a little biased because I've been singing his praises for a while, Liam, but you would be liking what you see.
Well, I would have liked to have seen him start, but we'll talk further about that at another time, Felix. But absolutely, it's fun to watch. And this is the matchup I was excited to see tonight, is Ulbrich and Jack White going at it at both ends of the floor.
Jack White gets the better in that occasion, and he'll go to the free throw line. Illawarra just with a small buffer, a 7-point lead, a little over a minute to go in this first term, what's been action-packed. And Jack White, and this is when we talk about star power and stuff, Jack White's going to get a lot of points like this. It may not be the prettiest stuff, but he's going to be there hustling the second chance points. He's always going to be at the right spot when Shea Ely and other guys are driving in there to dish. He's a very high IQ guy.
Does an incredible job of finding windows, Jack, similar to Lockie at the other end just before. Is when you're in the pick and roll, you want your big to stay in line with you. You know, try and not get too far ahead of you where you don't have an angle, or too far behind you where you're throwing a wraparound. So both Lockie and Jack both do a really good job of staying in those windows.
Lockie Ulbrich perfect from the field so far as they feed him again down low. Seems to like the matchup with Jack White. Gets right in there, can't get any success that time. Rain, hail, and Dellavedova diving on the floor in the preseason. Melbourne United will come up with this one.
That's an A for effort. Yeah. That wasn't particularly aesthetically pleasing.
No.
That little passage of play, but the bodies were diving on the floor, left and right, and everybody getting a piece of the hardwood. And surprise, surprise, Shea Yili comes up with it.
You got Daly diving on the floor, Shea Yili coming up with a loose ball. If you could sum up just that Melbourne United grit, that'd be it. Who would you say, Kyle, the best defender in the league? The guy when you walk out there that you least want to face all up in your grill?
Oh, it's a tough question. For me personally, Antonius Cleveland was a problem. I mean, he's overseas now, but he would come and pick me up full court. His length was always tough, and I like to sort of spin to get into pick and rolls. And, you know, his wingspan was 8 foot long, so he could reach around. But I think this Melbourne United backcourt is really impressive between Shea and Daly. The physicality and the switchability between those guards is pretty impressive.
Hickey up top. Gets deep into the paint, little Euro step, gets it back to Froling, and Marcus Lee says, you know what? I don't care if it's a goaltend, that one's going out, because there is no way he thought that was going to be legal.
And that's the decision-making of Davo Hickey and how much he's grown as a player. I remember he was a development player with us at South East Melbourne, and that was the thing that was sort of stopping him, was his decision-making in a way. He's an incredible athlete, but now we're seeing that come together. I think last year in the finals as well, with playoffs, we saw that. So it's just been incredible to see his development too. An incredible off-season, as we said, with Lockie Aldrich too. Davo Hickey, one of those as well.
Lee just cleaning up the board. You're going to see a lot of that this year for Melbourne United. The last second shot here. Zach Triplett gets it to go. Looking to find his place in this roster, and Jack White might get the final look at it. It's going to be after the buzzer. It wouldn't have counted anyway, but Zach Triplett opens his account for the Illawarra Hawks.
Nice to see from Zach Triplett against his former team, where he's
bad
moved
blood
on from, and a beautifully weighted kick-ahead pass from Blanchfield made a slight little adjustment to get it over the outstretched hand of Delvedova, and it worked perfectly.
5-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks here against Melbourne United. Of course, Chris Golding not taking part in this one. Trey Cal not taking part for the Illawarra Hawks, but Kyle Adnam joins us. Your thoughts on the early going here from both teams?
I think there's been a really concerted effort at getting downhill and putting pressure on the paint. I think obviously getting to the line is going to be a really important factor this season, and I think both teams have got that in their scouting reports.
Liam, obviously the big story coming out of this one, Lockie Aldrich in the early going. You said a couple of times, you reckon, why was he not starting? I actually had to hold you back when you saw the Darius days were starting over and with so many scouts in the building, but he's certainly made up for it.
Oh, he's fun to watch. Yeah, and he's playing with so much confidence right now, and it was a fun first quarter. 25-31, plenty of points being scored. Not quite the amount of points we saw last night. South East Melbourne and Sydney, which was a score fest, but plenty of points nonetheless. So I'll tell you, and while we're talking about NBA scouts, prospects, guys putting on performances with people watching on, I wish there had been more of them at the State Basketball Centre the night Kyle Adnam gave Lonzo Ball the business.
Can we talk about?
Can we run the highlights?
We got to get that
because
tape
when
up.
UCLA was visiting the country, and Lonzo was, you know, the next cab off the rank in terms of point guard prospects coming along. Kyle, you went to work on the young man.
I credit Casper Ware. You know, he was helping me a lot.
You were playing.
He was helping me a lot, but no, it's State Basketball Centre, the hometown. You feel good. You're comfortable in that environment. So, yeah, I remember that though. It was an amazing game. It was kind of actually the first time I'd really had a crack at starting in that United roster, which was, you know, went on to be a championship team. So it was a huge confidence boost for me going into the season. One, playing against, you know, such a talented player with such a bright future, but also in my journey, it was a big part of where I was going.
That wasn't the end of your NBA exploits either. You put one in the grill of Mello, didn't you?
I can't remember. We might be able to find some tape, but I think
I could find several text messages from you saying, hey, look at this. Square the great man up and say, taste this.
It would make great content if we can get that something about that happening at Hoops Fest.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Carmelo in the country.
I need to jump on here a little more, get the nice little ego hit.
Well, I think I'm going to print out some text messages and show them to him. Just the disrespect you showed to the great man as Lee takes it from the outside. Can't get it to fall, and Daly will clean it up as he so often does. He loves this Gold Coast air. Daly, not so much that time. Darius Days pulls down the board.
is one of the things I like about this three-pronged front court rotation of the Hawks. Easy whistle there against Kyle Bowen as he grabs Lockie Ulbrich, trying to get across and around that screen. Sam Froling, Ulbrich, Days, you can roll with any combination of those three, right? Like with you can bring Days, you can bring Ulbrich off the bench. He can come in at the 5, he can come in at the 4. You can flip it around, go in a different direction. Obviously, you've got a guy like Mason Peatling on this roster as well, who you can utilize within that space. But, you know, I think for the most part, those three are going to play the bulk of the minutes in the front court. And, you know, that's 3 high-level players that are going to get things done.
It's just a fantastic example of positionless basketball, and it's going to be advantageous for them. You even look at the Sydney Kings across the board. If you're trying to find fault with the Kings, it's that, you know, Cam Oliver and Dave Cooks are your tallest players. You're really picking at straws to be able to find faults, but it's that's probably the only one that you can look towards.
No, they're stacked. Fun to watch. Alex Tui could have played the full 40 minutes last night. I mean, if we're really being picky, but yeah, no, they're loaded with talent.
Well, Alex Tui, another guy's Ulbrich again, gets it picked off that time with the spin that's brought him success, and in the open court, Jack White always so dangerous, but the refs are going to say it's going the other way.
Oh, a tee issued to the Melbourne United bench, and do you know what? That may have come from Dean Vickerman at the very end of the bench. Not coaching the game tonight.
Consider me shocked, Liam. Of course, coaches love doing this in the preseason, getting their assistant coaches out there to give some give some practice run to the head coach. Dean Vickerman said, hey.
No, scan down the other end of the bench. Right to the very end. Let's get a shot at Dean Vickerman and see if he's looking cheapish. Yes.
Yep.
It was on him.
Yep, he certainly knows. They're going to take those points off in the film room.
I've seen that look before from Dino, and yep, I can almost guarantee that was his tech.
I saw that look as well. He told me he had that look when he told me they weren't bringing me back.
Oh no. Oh no, this might be triggering. How did that go?
PTSD. I said no. I said I quit. You can't find me. I quit.
He said you're too late. I just fired you.
I've already retired. What are you talking about? Daly working the on ball, finds Kyle Bowen on the outside, the catapult. It's a great term, isn't it?
Oh, it's harsh.
Would have been very useful in the medieval days. Harvey finds his go-to on the outside. That one falls.
That, on the other hand, is a beautiful looking jump shot.
So smooth. It's something about these left-handers. Daly up top for United. Doesn't have a Huck Portia JLA to throw the lob to. Finds the floater for himself.
So patient on all of his moves, Daly. I think when he gets into the paint, he uses his size and his strength. You've got to do a really good job of meeting him early, or he's going to get points in the paint.
Do you know if Daly's still on the carnivore diet that he was on, I believe, last year when he came in here looking like a WWE wrestler?
I'm not sure, but I definitely need to get on that diet.
Clark looks to push, gets pressured, and Lockie Ulbrich comes up with it. Lee in transition. Draws the foul on Rob Lowe. He's going to the line for 2.
I'm here for this more aggressive Hong Jung Lee. We talked about it earlier, Kyle. And I'm not sure whether you started to get a sense of this at practice last year, but there's a real focus from the Hawks and the coaching staff this year encouraging Hyunjung to put it on the deck, be aggressive, get to the free throw line.
Well, I think he's showing how versatile he is on the offensive end. He shoots the ball incredibly well, we know that, but his ability to put it on the floor at his size is pretty impressive too. And, well, I add, he might be the best bank three-point shooter I have ever seen.
Yep.
Practice, it is automatic, so I wouldn't be surprised this year if we see a few banks from Lee.
We saw one last game. Final shot of the game with the result already in the bag. He kissed one off the glass.
And he is great at that shot. So that's a shot that the JT would talk to him about, and most coaches would lose their mind. But that is Lee's shot, that bank.
You say beautiful lob from Jack White. Marcus Lee finishes. You say JT talks to him about it, as in encourages him to shoot it?
Well, when he first started banking it, I think JT was a little unsure.
I'll tell you what.
But then when you see it go through the net enough times, it's like, well, this is a legitimate shot for this guy.
Oh, he pulled the chair, Kyle Bowen.
Kyle Bowen, as you say, pulls the chair. Great defense on Darius Days down low. I can tell you what, with my experience with coaches, he'll be quite happy that Lee shoots that bank shot when it goes in. But as soon as you brick a bank shot from the three-point line especially, you might not have the same license as you did beforehand.
You know what, though? Like, Jack McVeigh did not have the license to shoot the 1-foot fadeaways early on. Shout out to Joe Wright, who worked with him on that shot, encouraged him to kind of, you know, to spread his wings as a player, be whoever he was going to become. And now, like, yeah, he shoots some funky shots. Right, the 1-foot-3 runner he likes to shoot from time to time.
Makes it consistently.
Going in transition, gets that one to Jack White down low. I'll tell you what, Jack McVeigh's, he's funky shots, funky tweets. He's a funky dude. Harvey attacks into the paint. That is a guy who has the full license to shoot a bank shot.
The float game off the left foot, off the right foot.
Everything. His touch is phenomenal, especially going to his left side. He always likes to shoot that floater, and when he goes to his right, that step back is next level.
We talk about Jack White going to the next level and being at the best he can be. If he's hitting from outside, a complete game changer for both him and United.
That's what got him to the league. He started to hit the 3-ball at Melbourne United, a little bit in the green and gold before he went to Summer League, knocked down shots at the Summer League, and then bam, he was an NBA player. And he shot the ball terrifically well in the G League. So yes, if he can bring that across to this new NBL season, huge for Melbourne United. If he's a, you know, a 36, 37, even a 40% three-point shooter, oh boy, he's in for a big year.
Throwing the errant pass up top, he's back into the game. Timeout here to Melbourne United, and you see on that last possession as this one's a 6-point game still to Illawarra. NBL 25, don't forget to get ready. It is all happening. Scan the QR code below. If you're sick of scanning QR codes, I've got bad news for you. They're coming all year for NBL 25, and you can go in the draw to win a signed NBL jersey. And not just that, NBL tickets, a 3-month KO gift card, and I'm not done yet, a $130 NBL store
You just
voucher.
got to scan the code.
Hold up, if I go off mic for a moment, it's because I'm scanning the code right now. I believe there's no issue with NBL contractors getting that as well. But you think that's the last QR code? Bad news, we got more coming. And God forbid the Harlem Globetrotters do another tour. Or Dennis Rodman makes his way out here. You know you're going to be hearing it.
Dennis is coming?
Oh, is he? Because if he's here, I'm going heading out with him if he is.
I'll be scanning that QR code.
Now, of course, don't forget Carmelo Anthony, Kenny Smith, all these guys are going to be at Hoop Fest. This is just the appetizer to NBL action. It feels like it was only yesterday that Jack McVeigh was hitting that game winner in the NBL final series, and we're already back at it right now. But from what we've seen in the early going, very, very happy.
Where were you when the night Jack hit that 3-point, that half-court shot?
No, it wasn't. I was actually in Illawarra watching the game, and man, that is truly one of the most remarkable shots I've seen.
Yeah.
All things considered, I was so happy for Jack too. Like, he was my roommate at the World University Games, so we got to spend a lot of time together. And from where he was then to where he is now, just incredible. But that shot was, you know, 1 in a million, 1 in a lifetime type shot for Jack McVeigh.
Back underway here, Ian Clark from outside. No luck. Harvey having some success working off these on-balls early. And Froling, just a big body down low. And Marcus Lee, well, he's going to be the one that's going to have to hold the fort for United.
And that's where you've got to go to your right hand. So he drives it left, spins back over his left shoulder. That's, you got to roll that in with the righty hook.
Clark gets that to go with the photo. Melbourne United, they've found their way into the paint quite a few times, getting deep here. We haven't quite seen the success transfer over to the scoreboard right now, but you'd have to be happy from an offensive perspective if that's your goal, is to get deep into the paint.
Yeah, Hawks are in that deep drop right now with Froling, so, you know, Dellavedova, Clark, guys who have that really nice touch shot, it's working.
Cardinals in there, I'm going to say from Sam Froling. You never cut the roll early. Tyler Harvey thought he was going to be coming up under there. Little over 5 minutes to go at the Gold Coast Leisure Centre. Beautiful weather. As always, the Blitz has been hosted all week up here on the Gold Coast. Liam Santamaria has been to Moo Moo's more times than he would care to.
I was at Moo Moo's last night.
Oh, now it's one of the best steak restaurants out here.
Little post-game feed. Had the duck last night.
Ooh, it was very good. Quack, quack.
Yep.
Delhi back into the paint. We just mentioned they haven't able to get in at will with that low drops coverage, but haven't had too much success. Only the 36 points to go so far. Now, we were speaking right as we jumped on air about Melbourne United's roster makeup and the fact that they don't have the absolute go-to guy that's going to be able to attack the paint and really get in deep at the end of the shot clock. Just a pure scorer. Now, you've got Chris Golding, who one of the best players in the league. I've got him making All-Star 5, but he's more of a shooter. He's going to go for the step-back three. He's going to stare in your grill. It's not your prototype end of shot clock guy. Do you think that that's going to pose any issue? As we're clutching at straws to find a weakness, but do you see that as posing any issue?
I mean, I definitely think late game it's really, really important. I think, you know, in that final series with United and Tassie, you saw Crawford and Doyle sort of in the last 5 minutes of the game be able to ice break when that defense gets really tight. But at the same time, I think you're going to see a lot more of Shea and Delhi in those pick and rolls and really taking that offensive load on, which is really important. Shea, I think, could probably be that guy and go to another level of putting pressure on the paint.
This is where they're so dangerous in transition as Delhi just two dribbles and finds the shooter on the outside. And Tanner Krebs has shot the ball well in the early going of these preseason games.
Gee, that's a tough whistle. Now listen, this is year 30 in the NBL for Michael Ayler. So far be it for me to question the call that he makes, because he's been doing it. He's been doing it longer than most of the players in the league have been alive. The vast majority. But man, he's
saying he should know better.
Yeah, Tyler, freedom of movement, right? Like he's been manhandled as he's trying to get around the pick, and then bang, pluck. Here's an offensive foul on you.
There's nothing more frustrating as a player as well. When you know you're getting manhandled, then you get done on the retaliation there as Shea Ili looks to find a way in. Lee with the little crossover straight through to the paint.
Okay.
Heading to the free throw line, but Marcus Lee with a little shake and bake on the elbow. Hello.
He's going to be a really big piece for them this season. I think his ability to put pressure on the rim and get behind the defense in those pick and rolls is going to be really, really important. So they need Marcus Lee offensively this season.
Just watching the replay, I saw the bake. I'm still waiting for the shake. Was there?
There is a calculation that goes into this. When it's certain height, do they do it often? If it's a rarity, you know, it's like grading Pokemon cards. If it's that rare, we're going to add a couple more adjectives in there. I'll tell you what I'm sensing, Liam. I'm sensing you're angry because it was on your boy, Lockie Albrecht, who almost ended up ankle broken. So he's playing well enough for it won't impact. 1 point lead to Melbourne United, have snatched the lead back. Blanchfield in transition finds Mason Peatling, famous for his full court hip and shoulder on Delhi. And Albrecht, the man who's had a pretty good start to this game. We haven't seen him too much over the last couple of minutes. Looking to get back into that little spin game low. Hickey, the hero of late last season, can't get that one to go. Lee will pick it off. And this is where Shea Ili, we found in the preseason, he's shown a real aggression to push that ball. And Melbourne United looks so good in transition when he's doing that.
It's a big difference of the last few minutes. United are getting out in transition and getting some easy points, really breaking open the game right now. Illawarra's trans D struggling a little bit, and obviously cause for the timeout from JT here. It's something he really harps on, is about transition defense.
Yeah, beautiful pass from Tanner Krebs. Had the open look from three, adjusted at the final second, and threw it into a catch Aaliyah.
And Aaliyah, of course, the last guy added to this roster. The roster that is now full, and I'll tell you what, if you like what you're seeing here, it's just preseason. It's a little appetite. Little appetizer for you. Melbourne memberships are almost gone, but 3-game memberships are still available. And you're going to give me no QR code? I've got my phone. I'm smacking the screen with my phone at the moment. Melbourne United, get with the times. You're going to tell me to go to membership.melbourneunited.com.au like I'm a caveman? Get with the times. You got possibly the sexiest club in the league, and we don't have a QR code?
Sexiest. Okay. Well,
more as a club. Let's refer to the individual players more.
We need to get you up to Cairns, man. We've got to get you up to Cairns.
What are they working with up in Cairns? Their QR codes?
Yeah, there's QR codes. There's everything you need.
Last time I used the QR code in Cairns, it was to check into Gilligan's. And I think I haven't been allowed back because I checked in.
Last time I was in Cairns, we took the family zip lining over the crocodile.
Oh, yeah.
You done that?
Yeah, I have. I did that last week.
Was it how many family members did you leave with?
No, we went in with 4. We came out with 3.5.
Yeah. Melbourne United a 4-point lead. It's been all United this quarter. I believe it was a 6-point margin to the Hawks at quarter time. There's a zone now from Melbourne. They find Olbrich down low.
Great pass. Beautiful, simple, easy zone offense. Lockie Olbrich sliding behind the defense, and Davo Hickey serving it up on a silver platter.
Aaliyah. Hawks providing the pressures. Will Hickey just a little overzealous, pushes that one out of bounds.
Really interesting, Melbourne coming out in a zone there. After timeout, it's something they definitely like to do when the other team's drawn up a play to sort of mess up their set, maybe flip them into a zone set. So right there, tried to go for it and straight down the lane for Will Hickey finding Olbrich.
Marcus Lee slips out of the on ball. Shea Illy looks him off and goes a little up and under himself. Can't get it to fall. And Lee from outside,
that's his range.
Sung the praises of him taking that one extra dribble to get into the paint. Tries to go from outside that time, and a little bit of circus ball to get that one off the rim. The offensive foul for Marcus Lee. Looked to be there. We'll wait till the replay, but as you said, 30 years in the game.
Year 30, isn't that crazy?
Year 30 for Aylan. Oh, back into the hills.
I asked him the other day as we were walking through the lobby, and he was telling me and anyone who'd listened that it was year 30 in the league. I said, how many games is that? And he just rattled off the number. He said like 879 or something exact. I said, have you got a little counter going on? He said, yeah, pretty much I do.
You'd have to. Do you run through a banner as an official when you get to a certain point? Is that maybe a little bit too much?
Surely 1,000.
I'll tell you what I say.
1,000 has to be something.
Drive him out onto the stadium in a little rental car, the Europa car.
Lovely little righty hook from Lockie Olbrich. In fact, you know, he said he's still chasing a couple of guys. Yeah, like, I don't know, Billy Mildenhall, Eddie Kraft, Ray Hunt, and some of those guys. I'd love to be told exactly who at what number, but there are referees over the course of NBL history who racked up more games.
Lee cleans it up after the late shot clock. Can't get the little hook to go, and Olbrich tries to tip it off the rim, but might have just tipped it in himself. And we are all tied up at the Gold Coast Leisure Centre. No, it's a 2-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks as Lee gets deep into the paint. Can't get it to fall. There'll be a rebounding foul here.
You must be hearing us. Now, there's the screen. I don't see that. Now, yeah, Davo Hickey tried to fight over so that the contact wasn't flush. That's not always the screener's fault.
Not always. I think Davo's done a really good job there of getting moving, though, and being hard to screen. Like, whilst it is difficult, I think the more difficult you make it to screen, the easier it is to draw those offensive fouls. So great defensive play there by Davo.
Fading out of court. You might be fighting an uphill battle trying to say a point guard, arguing in the moving screen battle, and you're backing up the big there, Liam.
I've been there.
Well, I'll always side with the guards, man, so don't send guard questions my way.
4-point lead to Melbourne United. Hickey works off for the little elbow jumper, gets that one to fall. And that'll be the development in his game, getting that little inside jumper, not just going 100 miles an hour to the rim every time.
And he's growing it. You know, those finer points of the game, he's really improved so much. I'm sure you had a lot to do with that last year, Kyle, working with him on a daily basis. But, man, we saw it on full display. Everyone remembers what he did last year, the back end of the season. It was huge. But he grew those elements of his game over the course of the NBL 1 season at Albury-Wodonga. And now he's coming out looking uber confident.
I think we're going to see it a lot this year. Like, he's got some serious game. And I think now that he's got his confidence up, we're going to see that.
Dellavedova, you mentioned earlier, Kyle, that it's the strength and the size. When he gets in there and he starts pivoting, he's so smart and he's so poised.
Yeah, he's always on a mission, Delly. He plays with so much intent. Really respect it. And I think that, you know, you're seeing him get to the foul line now because he puts his head down so well and creates angles.
Have you ever tried grounding? which is the stuff that we mentioned earlier in the broadcast that both Daly and Bryce Cotton
So
do.
you break it down for us. What is it?
Well, it's taking your shoes off and walking on the ground. So removing the rubber of the shoe.
So like the grass and soil of an oval, or the sand of a beach, or something like that.
Yeah.
So spending time with like your body, like connected to
Connecting
the
to
land.
the earth. I believe there's a bit of spiritual stuff goes on. A bit of it's beyond me, but
Okay.
it seems to work.
Lucky
Olbrich again just using his strength to get through the paint, and putting Marcus Lee on the ground is not an easy task.
He's a bully. He's a bully right now.
Well, it's certainly anti-bullying here at the NBL, but we will allow Lockie Olbrich to continue in this capacity. Lee looks to get revenge in the middle, fades away. We see strength and power on one end and finesse on the other. Hickey finds Days out top. You can't leave him open for too long, but you can that time. Hickey will clean it up. Finds Days again down low.
That's Davo right there. Just incredible offensive rebounding percentage. So the amount of balls that come off the rim and are rebounded by any offensive player, Davo gets a really, really high level. A lot of those.
Just a wet spot on the court causes Olbrich to slip over, and Liam was almost out of his chair getting ready to help him up.
Well, this is why, what happened right there, that you can see, that's why refs stopped the play to wipe up the sweat. So Hickey goes down, Tanner Krebs calls for the flopping. There it is, bang. He says flop, 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 and then Olbrich says, oops, daisies.
Ooh. You never want those ones, those little innocuous ones.
The worst one's when you go to pick someone up off the ground who's just slipped over and you also slip. Oh yeah, run the tape. You'll find a few of me. Trying to get Creaky off the ground.
Oh no.
3-second differential between shot and game clock. Daly with the ball in hand. Works it left, finds Jack White in the corner. Can't get it, he'll get one more chance at it. And Olbrich denies it up top. But the sheer determination of Jack White gets him to the free throw line. As we said before, sometimes it ain't pretty, but it's the stuff that wins you games, and that's what Jack White is best at.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I said when he came into the league, I think Jack White will captain an NBL championship winning team at some stage.
Reminds me of a young Tony Skinner.
he's just made of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, high level player, of course, but you know the culture stuff, the intangibles. There's a bit of Damian Martin, Daly about what Jack White's made of.
2.9 left on the game clock. Hickey's going to get the last look at it. The strength was there, the accuracy not so much. A 2-point lead at the half for Melbourne United. The Illawarra Hawks, of course, led by 6 at the quarter-time break. It is all happening at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. A great start to this one, neck and neck. Dellavedova, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Jack White has been having himself a game with 11 points and 4 rebounds. Tyler Harvey and Lockie Olbrich tied at 12 apiece. Liam Santamaria, Kyle Adnam, your thoughts at the half?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been that concerted effort getting into the paint. For me, the bigs, the battle of Lockie Olbrich and Jack White has been an incredible one so far. I think, you know, Jack coming from the NBA, it's a great opportunity for Lockie to say, you know, I can mix it up here too. So it's been awesome to watch.
Of course, Lockie Olbrich, we spoke about Lockie Olbrich, whether he was a legitimate, sometimes there can be hyperbole with these guys where we say they have a couple of good years and they're going to the NBA, but it is certainly not hyperbole with Lockie Olbrich.
I think he's going to be an NBA player at some stage. Now the question is that going to be through the draft? Could be named next year's draft.
So he's still eligible for the draft next year?
Yeah. Wow. So could be through the draft, but you know, we've seen a lot of play. Jalen Galloway, Xavier Cooks, like we see, Will Matt, seen so many players in recent times get opportunities, even as undrafted dudes, a year later or you know, 2 down the track. But he has a genuine chance to be selected in the upcoming draft. He's on the radars. Scouts are really impressed. They're going to track him over the course of this season. And like I said, if he does all the things that he always does and he knocks it down from long range, he's going to be in that pre-draft process.
And in your position and opinion, you would say it's probably the 3-point shot that's going to be the big one that the scouts can be looking. Because as you can see, just attacking through the paint. He's going at, Marcus Lee is an NBA-sized body, and he went straight through his chest and put him on the ground and laid that up. That's something that's going to translate, but as you said, the three-point shot's probably the one to look towards.
For sure, the three-point shot's the big one, but everything else needs to still be there all year at a high level. This is preseason. He was really great in preseason last year, and it tailed away to the point where he wasn't playing in the playoffs. So it's a matter of, with another year of experience, having that consistency throughout the campaign.
Well, Justin Tatum as well, from everything that we've heard from the playing groups, is that he's a player's coach. And I think from what we're seeing here, it's going to be very, very hard to deny him that court time. Now, you've got a guy like Darius Days coming in there, so there's a lot of stuff to play out, but what we're seeing right now is very good. A quick word for the sponsors, and we'll be back not too long.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL?
That is enormous!
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Play the game any NBL fan can win. Supercoach NBL. Be the coach. Challenge your mates. Win prizes. Head to supercoach.com.au today.
I'm thrilled to tell you about Swim Start, a game changer for our littlest swimmers. Swim Start is making waves by breaking down barriers for learn to swim lessons in Queensland. We believe every child should have a chance to learn this important skill. That's why Swim Start is offering vouchers valued up to $150 for eligible children up to 4 years of age. Parents, carers and guardians, this is your chance to dive in. Check your eligibility online and apply now to create a generation of confident swimmers. Let's make a splash together.
Two-point lead to Melbourne United against the Illawarra Hawks. It is ebbed and it is flown. Marcus Lee going upstairs. Still a bit of chemistry that they got to find out there. Of course, the big men, Huck Porty, JLA, out of this lineup to greener pastures, will we say, to other things. One thing in the NBL that I always think I'd love to see, and of course it's been action-packed so far, is more continuity with the rosters. And it's so hard in a sport like basketball because there are so many options and places you can go. And especially with imports, it's the danger of an import has a great year and all of a sudden they'll be off in Europe somewhere. I cannot wait till we get to the point where it is just continuity continuous.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tricky. If your team does well, you want to keep it together. Right, so you see continuity from last year into this year in those teams that were in the playoffs, right? Melbourne, Illawarra, Tasmania, Perth. They've got a lot of the same type of pieces back. Your team doesn't do so well. You know what? Let's flip things around a little and bring in some new pieces.
I think retaining young players as well. Like that's a big step forward for most groups. But you see guys like Davo coming out and having incredible finals campaigns and going on with multiple options in the off season to do things.
Lockie Olbrich and Tyler Harvey leading the way with 12 points apiece for the Illawarra Hawks. Daly with 9, doing it by committee right now. Tanner Krebs with 7, Jack White 11, Marcus Lee 8, and Shea Illy. Well, he's pushed the ball an awful lot. Just the 2 points to his name, but he's been very good offensively.
Yeah, the inside battles have been fun to watch. As you said, Olbrich with the 12. We've seen him going head-to-head with Jack White at times, but, you know, a little bit of back and forth with he and Marcus Lee. strong work on the interior, both these teams.
Well, you look at what, you'd be Lockie Olbrich and you'd look at what Jack White's gone over. He's been involved with the championship team. You'd be saying, and I know we've harped on about Lockie Olbrich, but for me, that's the story of this game for this one. It's pre-season. Winning isn't the be-all and end-all. Guys' futures are at play here. And Lockie Olbrich, you look at what Jack White's done and you think there is absolutely no reason why I can't replicate that, even potentially with more success.
Yeah, I think Lockie just is a big confidence thing we spoke about earlier, right? I think last year you saw him tail off at the end with his minutes, but for me, the Blitz is an incredible time for him. He's coming off, you know, arguably one of the best off seasons we've ever seen from a guy at that level.
You did some big stuff for Killside.
Well,
Don't
you know,
play yourself
maybe
down.
second. But yeah, confidence is going to be huge for him. So this is incredible games, opportunity to solidify his spot within that rotation.
How much do you read into winning and losing in the preseason? Now, it's not about the win-loss column, at least that's what all the coaches say, but it's about implementing your practices and how much are you following that. But considering this is so close to the regular season, it's only next week that we head into Hoops Fest and have round one of the proper for all the Marbles NBL season. How much at this point do you actually want to be stringing wins together and actually get to the end of the game, you're like, it's important to have that winning culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think winning is a habit. You want your team to kind of get used to executing down the stretch and getting over the line in games. But what's more important than the winning and the losing is how your team's playing. And whether you're getting a feeling like they're executing at both ends of the floor in various different lineups in getting done what you want to do. Now, if at the end of the game, you know, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, they lost double overtime to Melbourne United the other week, I don't think they're too worried about the fact they lost that game. The fact that they're competing and playing at a high level is more important at this stage.
Now, Kyle, a lot of the talk for the Cairns Taipans throughout this has been that this is going to be Taron Armstrong's team. Now, last year there was Tajir McCall, there was a few other things going on that may have just stifled his development in that year. From your experiences mainly through the pre-season, we haven't seen it too much, and of course a little bit of injuries there, but I'm going to get this right after this ad break. But I want to talk about where Taron Armstrong sits, because I reckon he's going to be a key cog this year. A couple of words from the sponsors and we'll be right back.
Discover the ultimate in courts, Dream Courts, the official court partner of the NBL. As the leading experts in tailor-made courts, there are so many reasons to choose Dream Courts. Whether for casual backyard enjoyment or professional-grade competition, the fully customisable courts redefine how you play. Dream Courts offers an unparalleled playing experience for everyone. Elevate your game with a Dream Court designed just for you. Visit dreamcourts.com.au to get a quote today.
Visiting the Gold Coast for the first holiday, I would say just beware, because you might not want to leave. You might want to stay. So definitely a beautiful place to be at. The food, the people, the scenery is great. I would definitely encourage you guys to come out. Bringing your family here to the nice sanctuary is also just amazing as well. So I think it's just a great place. This has definitely been one of the best experiences that I've had so far at the Gold Coast. I would recommend everyone come out and check it out, because I'm loving it so far.
Seeing the koalas with our little koalas.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL? That is enormous! Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Welcome back to the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. The NBL Blitz, a 2-point lead at half-time here to Melbourne United. The Hawks led by 6 at quarter time, and Melbourne United doing what they do best. Laid the pressure on Felix von Hoff, joined by Liam Santa Maria, the GM of the Next Stars. Who knows where you'll be in 5 years, Liam? I'll tell you what, you know how to work your way around the GM position pretty well. I reckon there's a few places you could be used. And of course, Cairns Taipans. Can I say NBL journeyman at this point?
I think you
I
can. Yeah, I think that's warranted.
Who's insisted that, dare I bring back the Wild Kyle nickname, I'll be walking home.
Did you start that? Was that you? I think that you might have started that.
That was back in the days you were vomiting on the court at Melbourne United when you first subbed into the game.
Did you enjoy that nickname?
Hey,
I was roll with it?
Wild Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to choose your nickname, man. So I think
you know what?
Right,
You're absolutely right. You don't get
to choose your nickname.
Jerome Randall, you don't get to choose your nickname. It should have been Ant-Man from the day Corey Homicide Williams laid it down.
Oh, God. Jerome Randall, is he still on Twitter?
What a legend of the league. Legend.
Yeah, shout out to
Unbelievable player.
Time you come across, you win a league MVP in the NBL, you're great at the competition from that point on.
Tough start for the Illawarra Hawks with an early turnover there. The pressure from Melbourne United picking up where they left off. Krebs to inbound. Darius Days. The import signing, of course, picked up from a pre-season game. Matty Campbell said they'd wanted him for 2 years. And it finally just fell into their hands in the final moments.
Do you believe that? Or did Darius Days just walk into the snake pit and present himself to Matt Campbell?
It makes you sound better as a GM.
It makes it sound a lot better.
Yeah. Harvey gets it down to the man we speak of in Days, likes the matchup there. And that's what he can do. Gives the too small to Tanner Krebs in a pre-season game.
Probably reasonable.
He's factually correct. I'm not going to fault him on that. Maybe the timing of it could be better. We wait just a week and we could do that one.
Listen, he's just letting you know. He's running past the commentators saying if you want to provide a little analysis on what took place, you could start it somewhere worse than this.
All I know is that contract was signed on the golf course because Matt Campbell does not leave it.
Frolling with the matchup on White. Backs down, no luck baseline, but when you're that big, you can just spin all the way back to the middle.
There's Evie Jack White there. Let him go baseline on his right hand. He wants you to over-adjust and take it away so he can spin and finish left.
Delhi finds Jack White, gives him a chance for a little revenge on Froling, but he says, I'm going to distribute instead. Ian Clark doing what they do best.
I've actually heard a new nickname for Froles floating around the hotel at the moment after his last haircut. Can you say it on air? We've got kids watching. Yes, we can. Okay. We've all seen Shrek.
Yeah, we have.
Can you put 2 and 2 together here? Or?
No, I can't.
We've got Lord Farquhar with the hair down, but Froling is my guy, one of the best guys I know.
Here we go. Darius Days, baseline, gets the slam. Not much resistance in the way of defense there from Melbourne United. Does not get much easier than that. And tell you what, if you got your phone with you, and I know you do because you've been scanning every QR code we've put up, then Google Lord Farquhar and tell me if it looks just like Sam Froling. Wani from the corner, can't get it to fall, and Jack White pulls down the board. Another guy who has the license to go coast to coast. Maybe not for too much longer after that one. Harvey finds Days again in the corner. Gets that one to fall.
Oh boy, he's rolling. He's having a good time out there, and he's working his way through his entire kit bag of celebrations.
He's just letting us know what we're in store for.
Because that one, he just gave the in your face. Was that in your face?
I think it was in my face. He was holding his own face.
It was in his own face.
Lee in the corner, another one who can knock it down. Doesn't get it to fall. Krebs will clean it up. 3-point lead to the Hawks. Krebs takes it in, beats the shot blocker.
Jeez. Lord Farquhar needs to provide a little more resistance as the primary rim protector.
I believe Lord Farquhar in actual Shrek was very small, so I can understand the facial features work. And Jack White again. Sam Froling likes the matchup there, gets to the middle again.
So you do have to use your imagination a little bit, don't you, Kyle? Because it's with the hair out now. I just hold that thought for a moment as Farquhar drops it off to Days.
Now, as a man who hates defense, I love the look of that because there was not much resistance on the second line there. Jack White just caught napping. If that was me, Kyle, I would have been right there blocking that thing, sending it away, saying, Darius, not 2 days.
You would have been
terrible.
3 minutes late.
I just want to apologise to all the viewers on behalf of that pun.
Some of your worst work.
That's a tough one. Sam Froling, 9 points, efficient as always, 4 for 5. Now here we talk about a guy that we want to see just get a few more looks in these one-on-one. 4 from 5 from the field. He's a guy that you sort of want to have 8 and 9 at this point.
Sam Froling?
Sam Froling.
You know what? You're right, but I just want to watch more Darius Days right now. I mean, that man's going to work. He's got a game-high 15 right now, 5 of 8 from the field, 50% from three-point territory. Throw in 6 boards. He's having an enormous impact.
Delhi gets the mismatch on Froling, tries to find White. The errant pass goes out of bounds. 3-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks, a 5-point turnaround. A little over 6 minutes to go.
And here's what we were talking about before. So now Olbrich checks in, and this time it's Froling, because Days is rolling, leave him out there, and Olbrich will play the 5.
And I think we're seeing with the Hawks what they were really looking forward in the off-season. Replacing Gary Clark's obviously a big, big task, but to see the way that Days can space the floor, I think it's going to do a lot for their offense.
See, shoot that. You got to shoot that, Lockie.
That's the one, and it's hard when you are so potent at the rim. And you know that you can score so well at the rim. It's always hard to turn down.
Yeah, but you're wide open. The GM of the Brooklyn Nets was about 10 feet away, wanting you to catch and shoot that thing and knock it down.
Nice little back cut pass from Kyle Bowen. Campbell Blogg a little overawed at the rim. And you're right in that. Yeah, you don't want to overthink it and change your game too much in front of the scouts. But as you say, he's proven himself at the rim.
Look, most times, if you know on the second side of the offense, the ball gets kicked to you after a little penetration. Most times, if you hesitate there, it's not going to go well, and then you'll end up in a place where you'll be feeling like you should have shot it. Now, I don't need to tell you twice, Kyle, because you never hesitated on any of those catch and shoots.
Green light, never had to think.
Olbrich's going to find himself at the free throw line again. Just using a big body, finds the matchup against Campbell Blogg, who his defense is going to be a little outmatched on the block at least.
We're going to see more and more of this over the course of the season. Teams huddling above the three-point line during the first free throw. They've been instructed in that fashion by the officials to say, hey, listen, we want to keep the game moving. Let's get that first free throw underway quickly. And then come and line up and we'll move the game along.
It's a topic that's come up a lot around communication and how vocal the point guard's going to have to be in these situations, especially when you get into the Perths and the Melbournes with really loud crowds. Tassie, you're going to have short huddles, so got to get plays called quick.
Great pass from Flynn Cameron, finds Marcus Lee. We're starting to see a little bit of chemistry between Lee and these guards. Of course, not his first time at United. The ankle breaker from Tyler Harvey and gets it to go.
Oh, my.
Campbell Blogg, take a seat. And that's what Tyler Harvey brings. It is such a sweet motion. The flick out. Blogg gets a chance to get one back. Can't get it to fall. Darius Days, game leader with 17 points, pulls it down. Harvey looking to shake and bake again. Is it just the shake or is that the bake, Liam? As he goes back to back, he does not. Flynn Cameron will clean it up.
You saw it coming. It was one without the other again.
Good defense from Lockie Olbrich to stop the transition, but Melbourne United threats in every position on the floor. Daly knocks it down from long range.
And a really good find from Flynn Cameron. You know, trying to operate, market, you know, the defense makes it tough, and at the last second adjusts and finds the open man.
2 for 3 from the three-point line for Dellavedova.
See Delhi fired up there, trying to fight through handoff, something he does really well, really, really well.
Don't forget to download that NBL app. You can download it by going to nbl.com. No QR code for you, sorry. We're living in the dark ages here. You can download the NBL app, but of course you get all your latest scores, everything you need.
Yeah.
Well within that NBL app. We
have a second tech here. I don't know where this one's come from. Dino looks pretty quiet.
Oh boy, okay. So Reece Carter is the head coach of the game tonight, right? Dean Vickerman, he gave Jacob Chance the opportunity to coach the other night. Now it's Reece Carter. And now there's 2 bench techs. So this is a similar scenario to what John Riley had the other night. He only copped 1, but he was given his marching orders because it was 3 in total. Now Reece Carter is
they're one away.
skating on thin ice.
If I'm Jacob Chance, you know what I'm saying, eh?
Well, what are you saying exactly?
I'm saying it's a competitive league. You want to get your chance as the coach. If I get my mates thrown out, I'm back to the head coach role.
It's a dog-eat-dog world
It
out
is
there.
dog-eat-dog.
I see Mark Boyd sitting at the back too, so he might need to be ready.
If Steve Smirchy starts head coaching, we might know that they've just gone a little bit too far. The team manager. Olbrich from outside, that's what he needs to do, and he does it right there. It's bittersweet, Liam Santa Maria, because the more shots he hits from outside, the more likely we are to lose it.
Oh, it's sweet. Sweet as says honey. That's what we want. We're a launching pad of a league where guys can come and achieve their dreams.
Well, that's the hard part, isn't it? And we look at like the hardest thing as a league and as a basketball community. Look at the Jack McVeigh situation. More than anything, we want him in this league, but when you have the chance to go over to the NBA and you're not fooling anyone, the NBA is the best league in the world. The NBL right up there is one of the second best leagues. Yeah. But the NBA is where these millions and millions of dollars at.
Now, I'll tell you what, the NBL is popping. This league is popping. And the reason it's popping is not just because there's high-level talent playing in it. It's because everyone around the world sees this as a league where you can make your way to the NBA.
Yeah.
That's why it's popping.
Well, you look at Montrezl Harrell, the signing here.
100%.
He's coming to this league because he knows that it has the worldwide respect where if he puts up the numbers, he's going to get back into the NBA.
Now, whether you're a young prospect coming from overseas or up through the local channels as a next star, as Hickey works his way to the free throw line, or you're an undrafted guy that's trying to get their way there, like a Jalen Galloway or a Jack White or a Xavier Cooks, or heck, if you're an import who wants to do what Jay Sean Tate and Torrey Craig have done through the NBL. It's a proven pathway for guys from all corners of the globe at all different points in their career, and you got to celebrate those opportunities every time they occur.
Will Hickey at the free throw line. I'll tell you what, I've harped on about how nice the Gold Coast is, but it's the only destination right now where you can watch world-class basketball, you can hike through an ancient rainforest, you can sip cocktails by a luxurious pool, you can squeal. Maybe not for me, maybe you're a squealer on those ones, style Adnam. On a roller coaster, you can do absolutely everything in this beautiful place, aptly named the Gold Coast.
I didn't realise the hiking through the beautiful rain as Jack White knocks down the three. The big guys are shooting the ball nicely tonight. I didn't realise the hiking through the rainforests in the Gold Coast was as much of a thing as it really is. Stu Lash from the Brisbane Bullets. He went out with Kylie Zakarski, Rocco's mum, and I've seen the photos. It looked heavenly.
I'm sure it's great, but you guys got to get up to Cairns, because when you talk about hiking through rainforests, it is on another level.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's all heavenly until a cassowary comes out of the bushes and starts pecking at your elbow. Then you're in strife. Then it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Those aggressive big birds. 3-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks, a little under 3 minutes to go in this third term. As we say, people will say winning and losing doesn't matter in the preseason, but you want to get that winning culture going, especially for a team like the Hawks. It's probably, you would say, more important to keep racking up these wins, because they finished last year off, but we know that they had a horrid record before that. And if you want to keep building that culture, it's games like this that do matter. Hickey finds Froling, left alone at the three-point line. Blanchfield jabs his way open and rolls and flushes the toilet and gets that one down.
That's a Gold Coast roll from Toddy. He knows these rims pretty well.
Cameron getting deep into the paint. Flicks it out. Bowen turns down the three. And again, so unselfish, this Melbourne United team. The amount of times we see them penetrate, get deep in, and kick it right back out. Very, very tough to guard. Jack White clears up the rebound. Takes it all into the paint. Gets that one to go. He had people up on their feet for a moment there, but he took the percentage play.
I think Lee made a business decision as well. I think he could have jumped at it, but he didn't. My guy Lee.
Olbrich gets deep in there again and just uses that body as he has time and time again. As we say, we do not condone bullying, but in this sense, go ahead, young fella. Keep doing it.
He's got such a great knack for finishing. You know, he's not jumping over guys necessarily, and he's not like he's much taller and longer, but he just has such a knack for finishing through the traffic.
And you look how much of a danger he is there. It's the slow steps. It's the old man style sort of basketball. Even though he's a fantastic athlete, he's got the poise to just slow himself down.
He's got 18, 4 and 4 and 100% from the field.
Remarkable to be doing this in front of the scouts.
He really is a next level athlete as well. Like, I think that it doesn't show out much in games, but when you watch him in the warm-ups, he's got some serious athleticism to go along with that skill. And to finish both sides of the body, I mean, that last play he spun and finished with the left hand. I mean, there's not many guards that are making that play. So for Lockie to be able to make that play, it's seriously impressive.
Well, he was incredibly impressive in the Blitz last year, and we just saw it didn't quite translate over to the NBL season. For a couple of things that we can probably say were out of his control, didn't quite get the leash that he was probably
Well, you coincide with Gary
to
Clark getting more and more comfortable and confident and playing at an all-NBL level. But, oh man, he's absolutely rolling tonight. 20 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, having an enormous impact.
The first quarter belonged to the Hawks, the second to Melbourne United, and the Hawks creating a buffer in the third. Here is Melbourne United, look to just claw back a little from this 8-point lead, and Aaliyah, the last signing to this roster, gets it from outside and gets it to fall. And he's a guy that's, I would expect to play in such a loaded roster. There's going to be times where he's going to play meaningful minutes this year.
Yeah, I believe so too. I think he's really impressed. I think his NBL 1 season was incredible, coming in with a lot of confidence, and obviously, you know, for Dino to trust him in these moments and to give him that last roster spot, it's a credit to his work. So I think he's got to be ready. He's a different look for United too. He's probably not the same player when you look down the bench as what they have. So I think he's going to be needed in certain situations for sure.
Shea Ellie draws the contact, going head down in transition as we've seen all game. 5-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks, but you just get the sense the way this game is going that we're going to be tied up anytime soon.
Well, we've seen some fun games these last few days. So I mentioned that one earlier, that one last night. That was super fun. Sydney, Southeast Melbourne, high scoring, not a lot of defense, but close. And this one, similarly, as Roblo cuts it to a 1-possession game, looks like it's going to be a very enjoyable fourth quarter.
Blanchfield finds Olbrich on the outside, turns down the 3 again as Liam Santamaria throws his head in his hands. But as I said, Liam, he's so dominant in the middle. As much as we want to see that 3-point shot continue to develop, not as much develop, just be shown that he can do it, because he can shoot the ball, but he's just so good at the rim.
That was a bucket. Fantastic. He's got to shoot that shot.
Yeah.
That's the next step in his career. He needs to know that. He's got to let that fly.
5 seconds left on the game clock. Jack White from the outside. Can't get it to fall. Triplett cleans up the board, but he will not have enough time to get this one off. A 5-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks. It was a 2-point lead at half to Melbourne United. As I said, the Hawks owned the first. United owned the second. The Hawks have owned the third. Where are we going to be going in this fourth quarter? Lockie Olbrich has been the star of the show so far. Perfect from the field as Liam Santamaria begs and pleads to just shoot the outside shot.
Killing though, isn't he? 22 points, 9 of 9 from the field, and a full line, 5 boards, 4 assists. Man, he's been super fun to watch. Now, obviously, Darius Days was big early in that quarter. He's got 17 and 8, bordering on a double-double, and Tyler Harvey early, he's got 15. Jack White leading the way for United, 16 and 8.
Looks like a fun group, this Illawarra Hawks lineup.
It sure is, and I think JT's really leading this charge. I mean, one thing last year, it was like JT said jump and we all said how high. And, you know, that's something that I think he's really brought to this group. And you can see it here with this, you know, sort of 3-headed dragon, if you want to call it that, up front with Froling, Olbrich and Days. All have, you know, sort of different things that they all bring to the table, but all replaceable. I think that they all are able to take big chunks of minutes, which is really important. You know, if one guy's rolling, the other one can come in positionally, stretch the floor. I think the versatility in their front line is impressive.
Who takes the last shot? We spoke about just not having, of course, Chris Golding would probably be the guy that you go to if this gets down to the wire and we do have a last shot moment.
I think gets a little lost in this Melbourne United doesn't have You know, like
a narrative that I'm pushing heavily. I may be the only one as well.
Well, you said Alice was talking about it a little.
Alice spoke at it, yeah.
Is Ian Clark, whom I think that he's clutch and can create his own shot. Does make good decisions out of pick and roll. Hits big shots. Is more than happy to take and make big shots. I think he's someone that don't overlook.
Yeah.
As a guy that they're going to go to and lean on heavily. He's going to come off the bench. He's not going to start games, but he is going to end them.
Certainly has the resume to be trusted with the ball late. In this one, a 5-point lead to the Hawks as we head into the fourth quarter. As we said, Kyle, how much would you put on this winning culture? The Hawks, it means a lot more for them to take this one home?
Definitely. I think as competitors, when you step onto the floor in any basketball game, that competitive juice comes out. And the Hawks, everyone wants to start well going into round one. We've actually got them next week, over in Perth, which we're really looking forward to. That's going to be a great matchup. So it's good for us to see them now. But I think, from the Hawks' perspective, you really want to win. I think it's important to bring momentum into round one.
Good news for the lovers of tech. The QR code's back, and that's because the Illawarra Hawks membership is right here. Tickets for the Illawarra Hawks NBL 25 season are out now. You can scan that QR code below, or you can go back to nbl.com.au/tickets to purchase. It is absolutely rocking at the pit. Daly working the on-ball. It's Melbourne United just wear you down with these on-balls consistently. 2-3 every possession.
They've got great screeners, and you see Tyler there getting hit and caught up on it. It's tough to get through every screen, but just climbing into the ball and doing your best to get over. With these screeners, it can be really difficult.
Tyler Harvey just shakes his way to the rim. Can't get it to go. Jack White so dangerous in transition. A great wall built by the Illawarra Hawks prevents him that time. But you can see both Lockie Albrick on the end of the Illawarra Hawks and Jack White have that license to just go. If they get the rebound, don't you go looking for a guard. Push, shooters, run your lanes, they'll find you.
Yeah, and we've seen that in this league with some high-level guys before. Like Mitch Creek is probably the best example in recent times. As Rob Lowe
doing what Rob Lowe does.
Exactly what they brought him in to do. Stretch the floor, make it tough to defend. But yeah, Jack White, Lockie Albrick, two really good examples of versatile bigs who can play end to end.
Darius Days from the outside. Gets that one to fall, proving a fantastic pickup for the Hawks. And Matty Campbell said he'd been looking at him for 2 years. He will be certainly happy to have him on this roster, and the reports from the Illawarra Hawks is that he's a fantastic dude as well.
Yeah,
I've been told he's funny, Kyle.
We'll have to see it. We'll have to see it to believe it. But I think his shooting is definitely something that's standing out right now, and he's not funny whatsoever for the other team.
Days can't get that one to fall after we sing his praises, and just the wordsmith Kyle Adnam next to me.
I actually was just dapped up by Felix for that one. This is big news.
Melbourne go away from the on-ball this position. The catapult from the corner, Kyle Bowen. He shoots at a good clip. Can't get that to fall. If you're a medieval army, you'd be sitting in fear, Liam Santamaria.
I see where you're coming from. That's for
and it
sure.
is no disrespect with the jump shot because he shoots it at a good clip. It's just a very unique motion.
And it's a reasonably good description.
Blanchfield can't hit from outside. Rob Lowe will clean it up. 5-point lead to the Hawks. Clark, and again, just that series of on-balls. Finds Daly on the outside. A great little pass to Rob Lowe. Can't find it. Kyle Bowen works on the inside, draws the contact. He'll go to the line.
We've seen the last few possessions, finishing in three-point shots. That one obviously at the basket, but coming out with switching a couple of on-balls to just change up that downhill coverage is something we're seeing change right there. And it's ended up with a couple of threes, being launched and being able to run out.
You look at Kyle Bowen and Tanner Krebs as the two guys. Flynn Cameron in a very tough position, just with how good the Melbourne United guards are. But Kyle Bowen and Tanner Krebs are both of those guys. It's tough to get two of them, but one of them is going to make a real jump this year and be rewarded with that court time.
Yeah, Tanner's off-season was incredible too. Obviously, KB is going to do what KB does. I think that in his role, he's great. Wherever you put him, you play him 1 minute or you play him 25, I think he's always going to give you what he's going to give you. for me, I think Tanner really finding that next level, you know, when Chris comes out the game, is how can Tanner impact it? And especially offensively, I think they're going to give him a license to go and score.
Of course, Chris Golding not taking part in this one with a virus. He's been sent home. No Trey Kell for the Illawarra Hawks. And it'll be interesting to see Chris Golding. They've sent him home. They said, bad boy, you're going home. Bad boy. Back to the corner. Back to the crib.
Okay. All right.
But the interesting thing with Chris this year is, you know, time is undefeated. Now, he's not aging to the point where you start to drop off, but you look at what he did last year, and he just looks so youthful throughout the year, and he was having one of his best seasons. It's going to be interesting to see what we see from him this season.
You expecting some level of drop-off?
No, I'm saying one would expect, but we're not getting it based on what we saw last year.
All right. Okay. Because you mentioned Father Time.
I did start to string myself up on words there for a moment. And
I think we're going to see a super fired up
I think what
Chris.
I was referring to.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a fired up Chris Golding. Obviously, you know, you saw the same situation with Delhi last year with the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And then going into this Olympic campaign, which, you know, you could have taken any of those guys. They were all very deserving. So I think Chris is going to come out and be incredible.
Just quickly, Jack White, Xavier Cooks, you feel same mentality?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think that there's always a point to prove, right? You know, we as players, no matter what you say, you know, you have pride, right? And you want to achieve something. So I think on the back of that, it's always motivation, no matter where you are.
Well, if you want to see Chris Golding live in action, no one lights up John Cain Arena like Chris Golding does. And Melbourne United memberships are almost gone, but 3-game memberships are still available. Where are the 4-game memberships, the 2-game memberships? Where do we draw the line? We're going to stick with 3. That just seems to be the happy number for most of these clubs at the moment. You can head to membership.melbourneunited.com.au if you want to get involved. John Cain Arena, one of the best atmospheres in the NBL. You look at these two teams. You've got in Illawarra, it's this local, rowdy crowd, whereas Melbourne, it's the, you know, it's the fireworks indoors. Two very different in-person game styles.
Credit to Melbourne United. Their crowds last year were unbelievable.
Fantastic. Almost a sellout every game.
Really impressive. So, you know, hopefully it's very similar this year. A lot of the same elite level talent will be on display. And, you know, the crowds across the entire competition last season were really healthy and set to increase again this year.
Sam Froling looks to go through the chest of Rob Lowe. Hickey gets it on the outside, gets all the way upstairs. Goes for the layup instead, the percentage play, and he'll go to the free throw line.
I think he was going to dunk that one, Dave. I've seen that in practice a few times, especially when he gathers going downhill on his left. He can put someone on a poster.
We've been teased a couple of times tonight. We've been teased. Lockie Olbrick, Will Hickey. A couple of potential dunks that have just been left on an island.
4th personal foul on Jack White, so he'll check out.
Leads the game, leads the scoring for Melbourne United with 16.
Tanner Krebs comes in. And you talk about that idea, you know, winning, losing in pre-season. We're just going to see if we see Jack White again. You know, like next, it's not far away. The start of the regular season coming up at Hoops Fest in about a week's time, and they're going to need Jack White, Cherry Wright, when the season tips off.
Any names across the under-18 national championships that will be taking part over there as well, which are your sort of ones to watch?
Looking forward to checking that out and growing more familiar with the participant list, but also the BWB. Basketball Without Borders Asia Camp, run by the NBA, will be there, and there's going to be some really high-level players there. One kid I'm really looking forward to watching, Marcus Vaughan's, son of Brian Vaughan's, former NBA guy, played in Australia for a long time. Eltham Wildcat Jr. is up at the Centre of Excellence, part of that NBA Global Academy now.
What's the choice restaurant in Western Australia that you'll be wining and dining some of these families at, Len?
I might have to get amongst it. No, but he's a super.
Harvey finds Days on the outside. He kicks it down to Will Hickey.
Davo making up for that goaltend down here. I don't know if you saw that. That was interesting. Come on,
One of the
Davo.
more interesting attempts.
Come on, Davo.
Bending of the rule book is Ian Clark. Is he going to be the man down the stretch that they look for? He's got the credentials. 3-point lead to the Illawarra Hawks. A little over 6 minutes. Some people say winning and losing in the preseason doesn't matter. I beg to differ, and I think this next 6 minutes will show you that there is always plenty on the line.
these two teams are getting really good at having close games. I was a part of a few of them at the end of last season.
Well, one of the best ones was the, I believe, almost quadruple overtime to start the season a few years back.
Yep, yeah, Toddy Blanchfield, I remember making a huge shot in that one, or multiple big shots in that one.
9 seconds on the shot clock. Harvey finds Froling, can't get it to go, the little elbow jumper. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Harvey will inbound. Lockie Olbrich has been the story for the Illawarra Hawks out of this one. Yet another breakout game, a big, big season ahead. Putting on a performance with plenty of scouts in the building as Froling tries to go through the chest, can't get it to go.
And I'm not sure we're harping on enough about that 9 of 9 from the field for Lockie Olbrich.
Pretty good.
I'm not sure what the NBL record is for a Blitz.
I believe it's Dave Barlow, 13 for 13. That would be the one. I was at the cage for that. I'm never a fan of efficiency, though. I hate it. If you end a game 13 to 13, you've done something wrong.
Well,
because you're on fire. You've
done a lot right.
When I was in college, and I went into the halftime locker room 6 of 6 from the three-point line, Coach knew we were losing that game because I was coming out absolutely firing in the second with no conscience, and usually it didn't end too well for us.
Well,
Froling on the low block again. He's looked to go to the middle constantly tonight, and he's had success.
A trusty left hand that is Frol's go-to.
And you've got to force him baseline in that situation.
Well, he's trouble from that block if he can turn and go left, get right to home base. That time,
great find by Rob Lowe in the corner. Tanner Krebs can't get it to go. Froling will clean it up. Harvey finds Days, who's been hot from the outside. No luck there. United out the other way. Daly turned down the quarterback pass to Alir. Goes via Flynn Cameron instead. Gets the same desired result.
Great unselfishness. Really good find. Flynn Cameron.
And Melbourne United had a couple of early turnovers getting into the paint. To clean that up, the bank shot from Harvey's good. And Melbourne United just keep trying to draw closer, but the Hawks just doing a good job of staving them off. A little under 5 minutes to go. 4-point lead for the Hawkies. Your former club, Kyle Adnam.
Yeah, see that here. Tyler always does such a great job of rejecting screens. Same when he's coming up to receive handoffs, he likes to sort of push back and create that space and actually not use the handoff quite a lot. So that's something that's usually on the scouting report for him, trying to send him towards screens. It's a tough ask. He's really quick and he changes direction incredibly well and can shoot. So he can sort of do it all. It's hard, but
so Harvey's been fantastic. 15, and we've spoken about Lockie Olbrich, 22, 5 and 4 right now at 100% from the field. But terrific performance of Darius Days. He was red hot there for a period in that third quarter. 20 and 10 in 26 minutes. Great efficiency, over 50% from the field. This is exactly the kind of Matt Campbell would be loving life. Exactly the kind of production and play that they are hoping to get from Days over the course of the season.
He's just proving that he is a world-class shooter. I mean, you see the form, every time he shoots it, it looks like it's going in. It's smooth, so I think that's, as I said before, that's going to be on everyone's scouting report, and he's going to be a real difference maker for the Hawks, just spreading out their offense. But also his activity, rebounding the ball has been seriously impressive. So it's always hard to replace someone like Gary Clark, but Darius Days is doing a hell of a job.
As Liam said, Darius Days 7 from 13 for the field, 20 points, 10 rebounds, and the 2 assists, doing it all for the Hawks. Who just upped the pressure a little bit here. A little shooto zone. League on the closeout. Krebs gets by him and goes upstairs.
That's the second time that teams have gone to zone after a timeout to try and sort of mess up the other team's offensive call, and both times have been easy baskets.
I think the second time the zone's been dunked on. Big on with it. Hickey works his way on the outside, gets deep into the paint, tries to go through the chest to Lee and succeeds.
That's tough, Davo.
Hang time through the contact.
And the Hawks just keep having an answer back to Melbourne. Harvey in transition, gets it to Days. Euro steps around, finds the bucket here, and I'll tell you what, he loves a little celebration. He's got a little bit of spice to him, Darius Days. 7-point lead. The Hawks blow this one out a little. Plenty of time left on the clock. A little under 4 minutes remain in this game.
Strong take, Tanner Krebs. Nice little clear out from a catcher-leer, and it's not often we see Tanner Krebs above the rim.
Do you say that's a business decision from Sam Froling? I want to see him go upstairs there. I want to see him say, I'm meeting you at the rim there. I reckon he slowed down.
I'd like to see Sammy fly there too.
Lord Farquhar, have you said?
I'm going to stay with Sammy.
Protect
That's my
your
boy.
castle, Lord Farquhar.
That's my boy. But no, I'd like to see him fly there. But Tanner can catch some bodies. I've seen some stuff thrown in the air and him going to get it.
Okay.
He can go. He can fly.
No, he's an athlete.
St. Mary's days, or have we seen this?
Now, Randy didn't let anyone dunk. Randy Bennett's got a dunk ban at St. Mary's. 7-point margin. The Hawks have just had an answer for everything that Melbourne have brought. Ian Clark gets into the deep. Would have been a big make from Jack White. Can't get it to fall. As a young child in a Ronaldo outfit almost does a front flip in front of the broadcast booth. It's all happening in the Gold Coast. Hickey under pressure. Confusion there, and Jay Illy's just going to chase it down and do exactly what Jay Illy does with the and one as well.
Oh, Wani Sparkle Bullock. A loss of focus. That's why you got to chase it down. You can't just let it and think, oh, that's going to sail out of bounds. You got to get a touch on it, make him take it. He just lost focus, and Illy takes advantage.
It could be an intra-club scrimmage. It could be a preseason game. It could be a little one-on-one down at the Paran basketball court on the bitumen. And I guarantee you Shea Illy's still going to be diving on the ball and hustling after a loose one. Something that I probably wouldn't do.
It was a big play. It was a big play. You know, approaching 3 minutes to go here, and he's cut it back to a 2-possession game.
Huge bucket in the context of this game. A 4-point lead for the Hawks, who have always had an answer. Not that time from Hickey. And Melbourne United with the momentum are away. Shea Illy again finds Clark. And they've cut it to 2 with a little under 3 minutes remaining.
I think this is where United have got to get a lot of scores out of this season, is running. It's going to be really important to push the ball and get easy ones if they can.
The man with a perfect record looking to sub back into this game. Another turnover for the Hawks, who are capitulating late in this game. Jack White, a transition bucket. And a timeout to the Illawarra Hawks as Lockie Olbrich, who's perfect from the field, gets ready to sub back in, and hopefully, for the Hawks' sake, steady the ship, because right now they are falling apart at the seams.
Well, rough couple of minutes there. Last few possessions for the Hawks, turnover after turnover after turnover, and Melbourne United making them pay.
And we talk about winning culture. This is where knowing how to win, when you've got a lead late in the game, knowing how to win and how to hold that lead.
This is an offense for United. Their defense and being able to create turnovers is an offense for them.
Yeah.
That's how they get out and run and get the easy ones. So
and if you're liking what you're seeing here, then I've got good news for you. You probably already know this, but we've got a whole season coming up of this sort of action. The season begins September 19 at Hoops Fest, and you can get every game live on ESPN or KO, and of course, every Sunday, 10. And then 10 play for the second game.
The main channel.
The main channel? The main channel, Liam Santa Maria?
Big show.
It's the NBL. Of course we're on the main channel.
You've got to be happy with that. Don't need to go clicking around. Channel 10, bam,
just chuck
Sunday
it.
afternoon.
Free to air, plug the antenna in, you got it. Maybe watch the cheap seats, or have you been paying attention, all the other good stuff that 10 has to offer?
Love that show.
Fantastic. I'll tell you what, I have started getting into the cheap seats. I'd always seen it, and I'd never watched it, but I've gotten into it now, and it is quite funny. We're all tied up. 2 minutes 26 to go here. The Hawks are under pressure from Melbourne United. Harvey, can he stem the bleeding? Yes, he can.
Great play. That might have been Sam Gruggan. He's the one who was copping the high fives on the bench, the assistant coach. Great play drawn up in the huddle.
United need an answer back. They look to Lee. Goes to his hook, can't find it. The Lee on the opposite end will clean it up.
I don't know if we're going to see Lockie Olbrich get 4 field goal attempts off in this last minute 50, but we would love to see it.
The way he's shooting, he'd go 4 from 4. Harvey looks to continue at another big shot. the floater, and this lead has ballooned out to 5 points.
Tyler's proven that over many years that he is a closer. He's done that consistently for a long time. You see they put the ball in his hands and let him do his thing.
White turns down the three in the corner. He'll go through the chest of Lockie Albrecht. Can't get it to go. But in usual Jack White fashion, he rebounds his own boot make. And he's going to the line.
Good rotations from the Hawks. They just weren't able to clean it up, finish the possession with the offensive rebound in the end. While we're talking about the assistant coaches, shout out to Joel Kalu, sitting on the bench there for the Illawarra Hawks. A moment ago, he was in Jordan, coaching the under-18 Australian team at the FIBA Asia Cup. Shout out to that squad.
Shout out to Kalu and that glistening light off the top of his head. Is that reflective?
But that's premium hustle.
That is.
Is it not?
Yeah.
He's come straight to the Blitz, jumped right back onto the bench.
What's the weather like in Jordan this time of year?
Well, it's cold for Australia, is what it is.
It is. Hey, any international medals you can get, Asia Cup, World Cup, Olympics, they are integral to pushing this game forward as Jack White knocks it down, and we're back to a one-shot ball game. The Illawarra Hawks will have found an answer for Melbourne United. They've been pushing and prying to take the lead in this last quarter. They've managed to tie it up once. Have not been able to sneak the lead, but here we go. The steal late. Jack White takes it through the chest of Hickey.
Defense to offense once again.
And they are up at about a 1 point game. The Hawks lead. Hickey takes it through. Dellavedova with the steal. And Melbourne United, a fantastic 20 seconds of basketball, have taken back the lead through sheer defensive pressure. And we talk about building that winning culture, knowing how to win. Right now, the Hawks stumbling at the final hurdle. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Albrecht, he's perfect from the field. Turns it down, finds Hickey in the corner. Looks to the mid-range, can't get it to fall. And United, with the ball in their hands, 50 seconds remain. Lowe takes it through the paint, finds Jack White, who gets fouled but passes it at the last minute, a decision that he will be regretting.
Well, I think Hickey will be regretting it down the other end as well. Again, another situation, catch and shoot that three. Took it into the mid-range, didn't go down, but you know, you're open, you're in rhythm. It's a corner three shot that you guys practice on the regular. Shoot that thing.
The Hawks over the foul limit, so Jack White, pass or shot, he's going to the line for 2 big free throws with 41 seconds remaining. The first is good.
The Hawks, of course, over the limit. A bonus here for White.
The Hawks have been able to answer back to Melbourne United all throughout this game. The first time they've taken the lead in this final quarter. A 3-point lead.
An interesting possession here for the Hawks. It's a great time to go 2 for 1. So it's going to be interesting down 3 what they're going to try and do.
Lee will inbound. Melbourne United came up with a steal in the backcourt. They'll happily let this one run down. Albrecht looking to find the leader of this team in Harvey. Gets him eventually. Harvey's going to work on Daly, who applies the pressure.
Oh, wow.
Michael Aylen, 30 years of experience, is going to say Daly just a little bit too handsy on that one. And a first glimpse, as much as it's a tough call because that's the way that Daly plays, it looks like he had a hand out there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. It looked to me, looked clean to me. Was there an element of kind of dragging him down? We'll have to see. Michael Aylen certainly felt so.
This is a great game. Felix von Hoff, Liam Santamaria, both standing on their feet. Well, for the Blitz. This is huge.
Now, this is tough. The hard part is I can understand from Aylen's perspective. The hand went on as he fell.
And look, I think from a team and a player's perspective, even a viewer's perspective, if you show your hands and you slide your feet, play with your chest, don't call that. Yeah. But he did put his hand on, a slight little shove, so you can understand where that whistle came from.
And the crowd is filled out here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Great atmosphere for pre-season action. The Illawarra Hawks, well, they've dominated parts of this game, Melbourne United have continuously been fighting back to claw that lead. And a couple of big defensive plays, traps in the backcourt, have given them a 3-point lead.
So that was a third team foul on Melbourne United. So the Hawks will take it out of bounds on the sideline. You got 14 on the shot clock. The crowd behind us goes bananas with T-shirts getting thrown left and right. But you don't need a 3-ball. You don't need a 3-ball here. Now, the tricky bit for Illawarra here is they're trying to run action from Tyler Harvey. He's being guarded by Shea Illy. You got to run that action off the ball, because if it's a dribble handoff, Illy breaks, he blows them up better than anyone else in the league.
I wouldn't be surprised seeing something coming for days here, the way he's been shooting the ball.
Plenty of options out there on the floor. Lee will inbound. Hickey works up top. They find Days, guarded by White. Goes through the middle, gets the contact. And foul limit or not, he will be going to the line. Darius Days, a 3-point lead for United, and that is the 5th foul on Jack White with 17 seconds remaining. A pretty easy one. And the last one was contentious. I think we could say that that one was a fair call.
Jays will go to the stripe now, down 3, 18 seconds to play. And you would expect a timeout from Melbourne United if he makes that second one. They advance it, just make sure that they do things safely, but the Hawks will be ready to pounce.
Darius Days has been impressive for the Hawks. Picked up after a preseason game where he's playing for the Shanghai Sharks. Didn't work out there. Matty Campbell said he was looking for him for 2 years. Liam Santamaria begs to differ.
Well,
Reckons he's covering.
I'm just asking the question. I asked you the question.
Can't get the first to go. Can't get the second to go. Crucial free throws missed. And Rob Lowe will be fouled on the rebound. You can very easily undo an entire game of hard work when you miss the crucial free throws at the end.
You've got to make your free throws. It would have made things very interesting now, but up 3, and Rob Lowe's going to stride his way to the free throw line.
You know what, with the sort of talent that we've got out there on the court, Rob Lowe's still one of the last guys I'd want to be shooting free throws in a clutch situation if I'm Illawarra. Just a veteran. Will not be overawed by this raucous Gold Coast crowd.
Unfazed by the preseason pressure.
And there we go. It's quite often that I'm wrong, and you've seen a prime example of it there. One more miss would breathe life into the Hawks. It makes for a very difficult task from here. Not impossible, certainly doable. And if last season taught us anything, plenty more to play out as Hickey goes deep into the paint, and Rob Lowe says, all mine. And Lockie Olbrich with the late foul, sending Ian Clark to the line, but a big-time block from Rob Lowe.
And a big-time final quarter here from Melbourne United. They will be ecstatic at the defense that they brought. The full court, 94 feet of pressure defense. You were talking about it, Kyle. Can you turn defense into offense? Well, geez, they did that in a huge way down the stretch.
First free throw's good. Seconds down, 6-point lead. It'll take a miracle from here. Tyler Harvey will get one up late here. 3 seconds remain. Can't get it to fall. Clark the rebound. And the win. A 6-point win for Melbourne United. The game ebbed and flowed, but a fantastic final quarter from Melbourne United. And we may have just seen down the end a team who has built that culture of winning. They know how to close out games. They don't get overawed. It's something that the Illawarra Hawks, who I have no doubt, are going to win their fair share of games this year. But maybe just down the stretch, a couple of moments there where you get caught in the United pressure cooker.
Yeah, they close the game exactly how they want to. Traditional United fashion on the defensive end, turning the Hawks over and getting easy ones.
a solid win. They come from behind in the fourth quarter. You know, you want to take winning form into the start of the regular season, and Melbourne were able to do that. Shout out the Hawks. 22 for Days, 22 for Harvey. Lachlan Olbrich with 22 of his own.
And you know the best thing about Lachie Olbrich is he avoided just throwing one up late there and getting stuck. He was trying to find Harvey on those handoffs. He said, I got the perfect score right now. I'm pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah, 9 of 9.
I'm not going to throw up a little ball for them to bunt.
From the field for Olbrich. And look, 5 guys in double figures for Melbourne United. And Jack White, sensational. 24 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. Stat sheet stuffing supreme from Jack White.
Just as we say on the on the broadcast in the early going that maybe we're not going to see wild numbers from Jack White. We'll see game-winning plays. He comes out and does that. So you know what? If that's the Jack White that we're going to see throughout the year, and of course Chris Golding being out of this lineup, plenty more shots to go around. But Dean Vickerman would certainly be happy with at least how they finish this game in the final quarter.
Yeah, I think another one too, Shea Illy, 9 assists. Like, he was running the offense, and I think that's, I spoke about him earlier, his ability to get in the paint, draw the defense and make the right play. I think he's gone to another level in his game offensively, especially as a distributor. We all know how great he is defensively. I mean, he turned the game with a couple of steals late there, but 9 assists for me is incredible in 40 minutes.
And of course, don't forget the Perth Wildcats coming up against the Cairns Taipans. Almanza, the next star, Liam Santamaria. You don't even have to commentate this one. You're going to go off and enjoy this one with the myriad of GMs and executives and millions of dollars worth of NBA salaries that are sitting courtside right now.
And his agent.
And his agent.
And his agents come in from Spain, and he'll be sitting courtside, excited to watch Almanza do his thing. But listen, fun game. You know, well done Melbourne United coming from behind. But shout out to the Hawks as well. Look, they were in control. Yeah, they'll rue the way it fell away at the end, but they look good. Yeah, that's a championship contending team. Justin Tatum, those guys, as you know intimately well, Kyle, those guys love to play for him. And, yeah, we've got some guys on that team, Hickey, Olbrich, who are going to go to another level this season. Darius Day is a good pickup late in the piece. They look sharp. Don't worry about the loss. Pre-season, they'll come and they'll go. But they look ready for round 1.
They look ready to go. And, of course, Kyle Adnam, thank you for joining us in the Cairns Taipans this year. From what you've seen in the early going, and I know you're not going to sit here and promise me you're going to win the championship, but, of course, your first year with the Taipans here, you're enjoying it. You think that the team's well-placed?
Oh, it's been incredible so far. I think as a group where it's probably one of the most versatile groups I've seen. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to have our whole group on the floor just yet. But there's some serious talent in this, and I'm excited to get going. We spoke about Taran a little earlier. There's some serious talent here. You know, you're looking at a guy, in my opinion, who's probably going to be the Boomers' point guard one day. I feel like, obviously, we've got Giddy, but I feel like Taran is right there in that mix.
That's huge. That's a huge comment. I hope to see that one clipped up on a little graphic somewhere by the NBL if the social media people are listening.
Hey, they're welcome to. I really believe in what Taran's doing. And
position.
I think his ability and his size, both ends, and as he continues to develop, it's going to be amazing for the league.
Fantastic. Well, Taran is, of course, is going to miss the first 2 games of the season. Hopefully no more than that, but it'd be interesting for a team that's, you know, from everything we've heard, is so built around Taran.
Yeah.
To be seeing how they perform now might give us an inkling.
Well, they've brought in some help, the Taipans. We're going to see them in their next game, in the next game against the Wildcats. They've brought in some help because they've got Taran Armstrong down. They're going to not have Jackson McCoy in the first couple of games, and our man Kyle Adnam is banged up. So Tad Dufamile Jr.'s been flown in, and he's going to suit up and he's going to help the squad out in the meantime.
Well, he's a guy that can play as well. Tad Dufamile is no slouch.
Definitely. He's been great. He's been up in Cairns practicing, so he's been just incredible. He fits right in. He's a really great pass-first sort of point guard, and his ability to pass is really impressive. I've been blown away. Some of those cross-court skips and making reads out of the pick and roll has been really impressive. So I'm looking forward to him getting an opportunity like this, right? There's a lot of guys at that level who are great and good enough to be at that next level, and opportunities like this don't come often. So I hope he grabs it with 2 hands, and we're going to be in his corner right the way.
And your first experience with 40 as well. We know that 40's a real, much like Justin Tatum, a real players coach and a real sort of interesting guy. What's your experience been like with him?
Man, I love 40. The classic 40 quote, we don't discuss family business. All right? But I love 40. He's been incredible, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice. And Liam, of course, Almanza, the next star we're about to witness as the Wildcats get ready to take on the Cairns Taipans. Your expectations of him this year?
He's going to be huge. I think he's going to impact winning. I think he's a first-round pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Super credentialed young player who I think is going to have an enormous impact as a next star.
Perfect. Well, if you want to stay tuned in to all the Next Stars action, everything the Cairns Taipans taking on the Perth Wildcats. Thank you, Liam Santamaria. Thank you, Kyle Adnam. We're wrapping up from this one. Melbourne United 6-point victor over the Illawarra Hawks. Cairns at Perth coming up next.